Hello, listeners. This is Kat, and welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfics. This will be the continuation of Call Our Crimes a Work of Art. This will be Part 16, Chapters 34 and 35. Chapter 34. The teachers in the observation booth stare at their screens. How much of this had Midoriya actually planned? Monoma stealing Takura's wallet sent her to the police, who sent her to the pros. That was obviously planned. But there was no way he could have known that 1. The agency had no receptionist, 2. Bakugo would be there, and 3. That he would be the one to discover her. Nor could they have figured out that Ito would be so abrasive during twilight patrols, so that's another coincidence that worked in their favor. Everyone knows Mineta is a pervert, so it would surprise no one that he acted as normal in the simulation, so that part could be predicted. So could Bakugo's explosive entrance at the bank, and hadn't that been horrifying to watch? The file being given to the commissioner and deputy commissioner had been a clever plan. It was given to them the morning right before the bank, which meant there had been no time to adequately hide it. So when Takura had found the files, it was easy to predict she would reach one of 2 different but wrong conclusions. The first being that the commissioner was trying to cover it up, implying corruption in at least the department. The second being the police were investigating it for a while now, implying corruption in the agency. Either assumption would have riled up the public. It was terrifying how much Midoriya had pulled together, and with the video confession they have enough to expel Mineta, and that opens up a seat in 1A, and it just so happens that the Gen Ed student who made it to the finals happens to be wiping the floor with the hero team as a member of the villain team. Well then, I suppose we should discuss all that happened today. The heroes learned a very valuable lesson in what the media can do or to their careers, the lad says. I'm terrified to know just how much of this web Midoriya had planned coming in, Namuri says. According to his book, young Midoriya knew that Bakugo would blast through the wall, so he knew that the civilians would die. He also knows Mineta well enough to plan for that. He didn't plan on her trespassing or running into Bakugo, but he supposed that, if she was being questioned at some point, he would be abrasive. Ah, so he created circumstances that he knew would be bad if they acted the way they normally do. It was designed that if at least one person acted differently than he assumed, it wouldn't work as well as it did. I must admit, never knew Midoriya was this clever. That's why he only let you bet a certain amount, isn't it? Yes, however, my allowed amount was a bit lower than I actually bet. Why? Midoriya-san asked me to place part of a bet for her. Really? Namuri asks. Yes, she is confident that he will win, and she believes her earnings from the bet will make a nice graduation gift for the boy. It will definitely help start the boy off. As we know, new sidekicks and heroes make much less than those of us who have been in the industry for years. Why not just give him the money? Because the boy wouldn't accept it if he didn't earn it. Not to mention, it would be highly inappropriate as his teacher. I've already been interrogated by Aizawa for how often he and I speak alone. I do not want anyone else to think I was being untoward with the boy. Namuri burst out laughing. Aizawa thought you were... Somewhat. I think he thought I was most likely poaching him, seeing as our quirks were similar at the start of the year, or manipulating him in some way to boost my own popularity. And I, unfortunately, can see how some of my behavior could arouse the suspicions of someone as protective as Aizawa. I think you mean paranoid. No, I like protective. I mean with the press break-in, the USJ, the mall, the training camp, and the overhaul raid, I can understand why he might be concerned about his students. They are trouble magnets, especially young Midoriya. You got me there. As riveting as this gossip is, let us discuss the events of today, Nezu says. I was very impressed with the plan that Mike came up with for how to show he was serious about the investigation into Mineta. I don't believe I've ever seen him so serious about something. I hardly recognized him. Yeah, he's really good at that. I'm impressed by their planning. They managed to get the reports about Mineta into the offices of the highest officials, thereby implying either corruption or incompetence. And at this rate, they can't even arrest Midoriya. They've never seen his face. No way to connect him to quirks that have been seen. They still don't know who the villains have from the staff. Aizawa was smart to take out Sero. Him as the element of surprise, a stroke of genius. I don't think Aizawa is their secret whammy, Namuri says. How so? It has to be Hisashi. People forget this because he wants them to, but he was class president and ranked first in his class. He's not just loud. He's incredibly intelligent, even smarter than Aizawa. He's a skilled manipulator who understands people. If there is a threat, he's the bigger one. I liked how he was keeping morale going. When Shinzo felt like he had to let Midoriya down, he didn't berate the boy. Didn't get passive-aggressive. He is treating the team like people, and it's binding them closer together, Recovery Girl says. Right morale is very important. If they lose the drive to fight, then his plans are useless. Precisely. And he genuinely cares about their health and safety. No risks, no bending. He insisted Shinzo return to base and made sure the boy was okay. On that note, he performed 2 biological agent attacks just to be safe, Snipe says. Ah, yes, he did. Young Midoriya says that the one that was unleashed within the agency is a mild stomach flu. He said he received the sample from your office, Yagi says to Recovery Girl. Sneaky boy. Chio, you should get some rest. Your visit to the agency that they requested was approved. She clicks her tongue. My quirk doesn't work on the flu. Yes, but this is supposed to be a realistic simulation. You would still go, examine them, and tell them your quirk will not help them, Nezu says, grinning. She nods and goes to her room to rest. My God, how is Midoriya so good at all of this? Vlad asks. Just what have you been teaching him, Yagi? He came to me like that. Why do you think I reached out to Night Eye about him? His skills in those areas far exceed mine, as I've been saying. Namuri giggles. Who thought the symbol piece could be so easy to tease? Then where did it come from? Because I'll be completely honest, I didn't see him being this good. All Might's biased, Snipe says. It may be due to the fact that his intelligence has had years to develop, and that he actively tried to improve his abilities during that time. But would a kid really focus on skills like this when he has a quirk like his? We know how kids with amazing quirks are treated in public school. They're given the best of everything, including quirk counselors. Ah, you see, Yagi looks to Nezu for help. Midoriya was a late bloomer. Poor kid. Life had to be hard. My parents thought I was quirkless for a bit because what parent lets their kid shoot things? Took forever to realize I had a quirk. I just didn't have access to items to use it on. I'm sort of scared to see where he'll go next. What objectives are even left? Planting a bomb, destroy Hero HQ, make a rousing villain speech, kill the head of the hero team, and kill the hero's second in command. Yagi says, then adds. Young Midoriya seems to be right on schedule, it would seem. The other pros tense. He has this all planned out, every detail, and he hasn't been wrong. And he still has 2 days to get through 'em. Snipe trails off. They all take a collective deep breath. A movement on the camera has them all looking at the screens, but it's just Midoriya getting a glass of water. None of them notice the look he gives the faucet, and specifically, the water coming from it. Chapter 35. Chio. Chio Shizenji loves her job, it's true. Her quirk helps people, and as a little girl, that's all she ever wanted to do. It's why when she retired from pro-heroics, she took a job in medicine. She knows that she was harsh on Midoriya, but he needed to understand that actions have consequences. She's seen too many students, not just from UA, but other schools, go out into the world forgetting that the school nurse won't be there to help them anymore. You can't save someone if you can't save yourself. She had to break Midoriya out of the mindset Toshinori had accidentally nurtured in him to do whatever it takes to save the day. But she knows she went about it the wrong way. She knows that now. She'll have to find another way. But for now, she has to help these reckless kids with this stupid exercise. She walks in from the same way the kids had entered. It's ridiculously crowded. Why is it so crowded? She gets closer to the headquarters, and the crowd gets thicker. She tried listening. Hold those heroes accountable. Arrest the villain. Charge Lord Explosion Murder. Charge Grape Juice. There are picket signs all over the place and people chanting. It's a protest. The people are demanding action be taken for what has happened. She sighs. She is going to have to fight her way in through the crowd because the headquarters had not included alternative ways to enter or exit. Pushing through people to make her way to the door, at least they don't jostle her too much. Until someone bangs into her and then grabs her arm to steady her. I am so sorry, the boy says, and gives her arm another steadying pat, and then he disappears into the crowd. Chio starts to follow because there's something not right. Ah, Recovery Girl, thank you for coming, a voice says, and she turns to see Ida, coming down the steps from the agency. Immediately, the crowd starts booing and yelling. She pushes the strange boy from her mind, as she hurries into the agency to do her job, and see if she can offer them any help. Monoma. Monoma walks through the tunnel that leads to their base. He's not running, but he is speeding. Midoriya gives him a nod from where he's looking over a map with Present Mike. He thinks it might be a map of the sewers. Huh. Monoma decides that's need to know, and right now, he doesn't need to or want to know. Did Operation Nurse Joy work? Izuku asks. Yeah. Now where is my patient? Monoma asks. Unfortunately, he's over here, comes Hitoshi's voice. His head is bandaged from where he'd been bleeding from the hit Hagakure got on him. Monoma goes over to him and kisses his hand. After a moment, Hitoshi yawns and removes the bandage to show the healed injury. Thanks, Monoma. Don't mention it. Does anyone need healing? I have like 1 minute of this left. No, I think Hitoshi is the only one who got hit. Monoma nods. So, what now? Awase asks. Hatsume, I have something I want to show you, and I might need the prep team with us, and the material team. Yeah, of course. What about the rest of us? Go out and have some fun. Rile up the public, annoy the heroes, kill indiscriminately. But you know who to leave alive for day 5. Paladin and Shadow Monk, I need you to stay here. You're necessary for tomorrow's mission. They all share a look, and Monoma heads over to see what the green-haired boy has thought up now. Okay, time to discuss my plan. They sit down and Izuku pulls out plans, and Izuku starts to talk about his idea. So, your idea is sprinklers? Yes. The 3 of them share a look while Izuku practically buzzes. Okay, explain the plan to me, 10 million, Hatsume says, examining the plans. Izuku sits back down and starts to explain. By the end, things have finally become clear, and Monoma has to say that this plan makes even more sense than it had beforehand. It's going to be fun. All right, listeners, this concludes Chapter 35 of Call Our Crimes a Work of Art. Chapter 36 will be up next. I hope you all are still enjoying, I think, what the author did with this one, with Recovery Girl being brought onto the scene, orchestrated by Izuku, by making the other team sick just so that he could use her quirk with Monoma. I think that was pretty clever. So let me know your thoughts and reactions to that as well. And as always, thank you so much for listening.